Hi there, friends and family. Content Corey here. Today we're going to be covering a very important topic, and I got a question in from Zach Banzer. Thanks, Zach, in Wisconsin, a previous battle buddy of mine. But he wants me to talk about buying versus renting. So what I did was I took the two biggest markets, considering the two biggest naval bases. So Norfolk, Virginia area, actually Virginia Beach, Virginia is what I did some of the content on, and San Diego, California. So we're covering huge differences in the market, but I'm going to give you some free resources on how you can do some of your own research, and then a couple of things to look for as far as how to get your VA loan and what to expect. Let's just jump right in. In California, you got to be careful because any good real estate agent, lender, those type of real estate professionals, they understand that the market is huge here for veterans. They're between LA and San Diego. There's over 600,000 veterans, roughly about 100,000 active duty. So they are trying to market to you guys. And some of that you need to know whether or not you should be buying. Personally, I use a rule of thumb. You should probably look at it as, is your mortgage payment going to be covered by a rental? So if you were to rent out this house, would your rent cover the amount that you have to pay monthly on that loan? All right, so you need to know a few things. And the reason I say this is because personally, the market is pretty high right now. And California is a hyper market, which means that it grows faster and it gets hit harder when the market crashes. As you know, it can be pretty scary. Over the past since 1800s, like every 18 years, it pretty much crashes. The height was in 2006, so we're looking at 2024, 2025 when you expect maybe to crash again. I personally think it could happen a little bit higher, but I don't even think it's going to crash. And so let's get away from all that scary things. The truth is, you just have to think long term. So if you're going to buy, a rule of thumb there is plan on holding it for at least 7 years. And I say even longer. But what you got to look at is, should you be buying, you will be able to get approved. So the VA, they approve you a little bit better. So let's say you're an E5, right? And my market here, I'm guessing, is a lot of E5s have been in for a little bit, and they're thinking about buying a house, okay? So at E5 with BAH, you're looking at about $5,000 a month, $60,000 annual, but, and that's with dependents, but they'll actually load you higher debt to income ratio. So debt to income ratio is based on your monthly outflow of your expenses and what you're coming in. So if you're getting about $5,000 a month, they'll actually bump that up another 10% because your stipend, your BAH, is about, you know, it's non-taxable. So they'll bump you up and say, okay, $5,750 a month. And then they'll let your debt to income ratio go up to like 60%. So just know that there's a good chance that they're going to approve you for things. Now, there is a VA limit on what they'll approve you for. So they'll approve you for, in San Diego here, it'll go by zip code. But for instance, over here, and I'm not going to talk about the builder's name and things like that, across the street, they've built a whole new community of condos. The limit here is about 563, I want to say, 563,000 that your VA approval will go to. But they'll actually approve you for more over that. You'll just have to put 25% down of the difference. So up to 563,000, you don't have to put any money down. But after that, you have to put, let's say you get approved for 663,000, you'd have to be able to put $25,000 down, and then the rest would go into your mortgage and make up your monthly payments. So people know that about you. It can be scary because, like across the street here, they built these condos and they've got 5 different floor plans, right? The lowest, least expensive floor plan is $559,000, right under that limit. That's kind of funny. But then, if you go over there, those are all sold out. And the next floor plan up, least expensive, is over $100,000 more. So you go over there and they go, oh, we're not having those, but we have these. And now they're going to try to sell you something that you didn't really intentionally go over there to buy, but now, oh, you could probably get approved for it. They talk to the lender. Oh, now if you have $25,000, you can get into this. But also they've got HOA fees. So if anybody's unaware of what an HOA fee is, homeowners association fee, basically they pay for upkeeping the properties. Over there, they're going to have a community of things, parks and roads and different things. And so the people on that committee, which could be you if you live there, will decide where that money goes. But either way, you're going to pay your mortgage payment, your property taxes, and also this HOA fee. So between that, you're looking at, on these $600,000 and $650,000 and $700,000 properties, about $4,000 a month going out. I don't think an E5 should. Do you know somebody that should be having $4,000 of expense a month just for where they live before entertainment and everything else? No, I don't know about that. So you got to be careful because there are people marketing specifically to you. So in my general rule, I'm thinking you got to know what properties will rent for. Because if you buy it, and let's say you find out that it's too expensive for you, you want to sell it, you really can't sell. The average property, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in San Diego area, costs $520,000. In 2006, before the crash, it was about $540,000. So we're up there. Okay, the market is high right now. It's not the best time to be buying, but you can buy. You just have to buy correctly. If you were to buy a $520,000 property, now the appreciation rate on these homes is about 2% a year. Okay, but you also have to factor in that if you wanted to sell it, well, first off, you're going to get a VA loan fee. When you get a VA loan, they add a fee into your mortgage, and it's about 1.2% they say, but I know that if you go to get a $400,000 loan, it's going to be about $8,000 VA fee. So that right there, that's 2%. So anyways, factor in about 1.25% on the front end. That's even if you get the seller to cover closing costs. And then on the back end, commission of 6%, another 1% for closing costs. You need to at least factor in 8.25% that you're going to lose. And when you're an owner, realize you're paying on the loan there. So when you're paying on the loan, most of that monthly payment is on interest. There are resources, and I want you to be able to look for yourself and see how to do it. So I don't want to confuse you a whole bunch. I want you to be able to know when you're making a good purchase. So you can find out what your mortgage payment's going to be with a mortgage calculator. I've got a few sites right here. Go to mortgageinfo.com, right? mortgage-info.com. And they have all kinds of calculators there for debt to income ratio. And I would suggest don't go over 42%. So you just go to the calculator, you put in whatever costs you have going out every month and your actual income, and it will tell you what your debt to income ratio is. So even though the VA loan will let you go to 60%, don't do that. For your safety, do 42%, okay, or less. And then you can go to rentometer.com. So rentometer.com is a resource. All these are free, and you can plug in 3-bedroom and any zip code, and it will show you what's actually renting there and what it's renting for. So the average rent here, like I said, was about $2,300 a month, anywhere between $2,300 to $2,500 a month. So when you buy, you should be thinking you want your mortgage payment to be at that or less. Because God forbid something happens, an emergency in the family or something like that, or you're going to get out in 2 years, or you want to have your options open. Whatever you're going to do, be able to support that. So if you had to move people in to rent it, you could. But if you have a $4,000 mortgage payment that you can't cover anymore, you can't even put somebody in to rent it and cover that mortgage. So you're going to get defaulted on. But not a whole lot of people are looking out for you. So what you need to do is see which in your area. You can do that anywhere, right? You can do that anywhere throughout the country. Put in your zip code and see what that is going to be. And now you can put in the mortgage calculator what your purchase price should be. I think your purchase price should be somewhere around $400,000. I'm going to tell you why. I think you should be looking for homes worth $400,000. And I think you should be putting offers in on them for $350,000. Okay, that's almost 90% of the listed price. If they're listed at 400,000, and they're worth 400,000. And that in this market, it's very saturated with flippers that need certain price points, right, to be able to incur those costs I was talking about to make any money. But if you can get in there and actually be competitive, and then you say, you know, you're in the Navy or the Marines or whatever military service you're in, you have a good chance of getting that property. And if you can get in there for $350,000, and that you can't do it everywhere, so just put in the offers, put in the offers, put in the offers, and don't get deterred. Just do that until you get a right property. Maybe go a little south or a little east. And when you get in there, your mortgage payment will be under $2,500, so you could rent it. But also, if you're in a position to rent that property to your friends, let's say you got a couple of single friends, and if you're in a relationship, maybe that's not an option for you. But either way, you know that you can make the monthly mortgage payment and hold on to it, and you're at a better price point. So if you wanted to sell that property, like I was trying to tell you at $520,000, if you want to sell that property and incur 8.25% fees, when you sell that house, it's only appreciating 2% per year, you have to wait 3 years before you can even break even. Whereas, why make $2,500 a month payments if you could rent for less and pocket the rest, right? And your rent's not going to be $2,500 or $520,000. It's going to be closer to $2,600 or $2,700 mortgage payments. So that difference would be the difference of renting, right? So if you're going to pay $2,700 a month to own, yes, you get tax deductions for your property tax, but realize you have extra incurred costs. So you'll get a deduction for being a homeowner, but you also have a property tax cost, and you also have ownership additional costs that you wouldn't have as a renter. But basically, I think you'll find that it about breaks even as far as your tax savings and your new incurred costs. So if you were going to buy the average home here, I don't think that's a good idea because the market's at the top and your rent's only $2,300, your mortgage is going to be higher than that. You're better off to rent, save that $400 a month that you would be spending, because even if you owned, a large portion of that, almost $2,000 of that mortgage payment is going toward interest. So in that front end years, you're not covering that much of your actual loan balance, which means when you go to sell, you incur the new fees and costs to sell, and now you go to pay off that loan amount, and it's still very, very high. You don't make enough money, so you're better off just to rent. Whereas if you go in and you look for a $400,000 value home and you buy for $350,000, that's $50,000 equity, right? So not everybody's going to want to sell like that, and maybe you come up to $360,000. If it needs a lot of work, stay at $350,000 and then put that $10,000 or $15,000 in there. But after a year, you can have it reappraised. So move into that house that's worth $400,000 that you bought for $350,000. Move your friends in there, rent it out to them, and now you can refinance it a year later. The VA will give you 100% refinancing loan to value, which means it's worth $400,000 if you did it right, and now you can pull $400,000 out. So you can only pull above what you owe. So if you owe $350,000 what you bought it for, they'll give you $50,000, right? So now you've got $50,000 that you can now use to invest. And that's the way to get free. You know, if you think that you're just going to work 50, 60, 70 hours for 40 years, that's the old way of thinking. And yeah, that'll work, say, maybe it'll work. A lot of people still can't retire. But I think it's a good idea to make good investments, right? So even if the market goes down on your house, you can rent it out for the mortgage payments. You're not losing. And now you have $50,000 at your disposal to invest in other places, right? That could be a down payment anywhere across the country for another rental property and things like that, which is what I would do with it. And I think it's a good idea for you. But I want to put you in a position where you limit your risk. Also, when you take that equity line of credit, you're going to incur a loan financing cost probably about $3,000 to refinance. So let's say it's just $47,000. Oh, well, because also capital cost is a big deal when you go to invest, right? So if you need money to buy things, now you got to pay back the loan plus the interest. Well, the interest expense on home equity, mortgage payments, things like that, they're tax deductible. Okay, so everything can get really confusing. So taken out of that is I would be looking for homes worth $400,000. I would be putting in offers for $350,000. That's what I think you should do, because then you put yourself in a position to later on refinance. That is something that the VA offers, and you need to be taken advantage of. On the other coast, okay, it's a lot safer, right? That's not a hypermarket, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Your mortgage payment on the average house in Virginia Beach, Virginia is $225,000. Okay, so your mortgage payment on that is going to be about $1,500 if you do no money down. If you put 20% down and make it a rental, your monthly mortgage is going to be about $925, and then you can rent it. So the average rent there is $1,500 a month. You can use rentometer.com like I told you, and you can use mortgage calculators to figure out what your mortgage is going to be. And then there's another source I wanted to tell you about. It's goodmortgage.com/calculators/investmentproperties.html. So go to goodmortgage.com and look for the investment property calculator. You can plug in your property taxes, set aside $100 for maintenance a month, put in what your rental income would be. You can plug in all your incomes and expenses, and it will show you what you will cash flow net of tax. So that's goodmortgage.com, right? And so maybe you don't have 20% to put down, so you do a VA loan or an FHA loan, gets you 3.5% down, you can get in that home, and so have people move in with you. Until you're in a position, you can do the same thing there. Put in offers where you have equity there, so that a year later, you get 100% refinancing. You still can rent out the property and cover the mortgage, and now you can use that, and you'll have your money for your 20% down for another rental property. And if you put in the right offers and you buy the right properties, you can make a lot of money and do very well and set up your financial freedom. I know I make it sound pretty easy, but that's because I'm pretty educated in the situation. You educate yourself, use the tools, use the resources. Mistakes are expensive, right? So yes, you have opportunities that other people don't have. There's a lot of people trying to get to you and get you into places because they make money, and it can be really bad for you. Okay, so you need to look out for yourself. So definitely, I'd say in Virginia, I don't know if I said it, but I'd definitely be buying over there instead of renting. In California, for the most part, your average home, I wouldn't be buying it. Set in the amount of money you need to sell. If you want to buy a $500,000 or $600,000 home, put in a purchase price that's at least 10% lower than the actual market value. So that way, when you go to sell it and you incur that 8.25% expense, you've made your money back. You can break even on that. Otherwise, you put yourself in a position where you feel like you can't sell, you lose money, you've been making huge payments for a long time, and you don't make out. That's my suggestion. Also, I want to tell you to pull the value. So when you try to find out what a home value is, you need to know what you're doing. Now, you can get agents to do that and things like that, but I would say just use Zillow.com. They get a bad name for their Zestimates, so don't look at things that are for sale and what they're estimated. But the information on there and the data collected is real, right? So the way that I just told you that the average house is $520,000 in San Diego right now and $225,000 in Virginia Beach, Virginia right now, I just pulled that up on Zillow median market average house, and boom, there it was. You can also look at the for sold. So you have to know what a comp is, and that's based on the bedroom and bathroom count being the same, the square foot being about the same. You look at the pictures and say, is this about the same as square foot of the lot? So I might do another whole video on how to pull comps and know. Hey guys, sorry about that. Video had cut out on me, but we're at the end of the video. So I hope you take these tools and resources and use them. Share it with your friends. I know it may seem like common knowledge, but a lot of people don't know this information. So pass it on. Be a good friend. And then, I don't know, if you have questions, you could ask. Maybe I'll make some more videos to try to help you out, clarify a few things. Thank you.